started the better of the two sides, no doubt about it, and scored, albeit in a little bit of controversial circumstances. It was Bernardo Silva who thumped it into the net. Al Hilal said it should have been ruled out for a handball in the build-up, but it was in the phase before the ball ended up in Bernardo Silva's possession, so VAR couldn't intervene. City have had other chances. Bunu's made 3 or 4 really good saves. There's been a few good moments for Al Hilal as well, but at the moment it's 1-0 to City at half-time. Well, let's go back to the studio and we can join Natalie.
Welcome back to Matchday Live, where City lead in the last 16 of the Club World Cup 1-0. Still joined in the studio by Nicky Weaver and by Andy Morrison. Nick, what's your assessment of the first 45?
I think that, you know, everything you need to know, the man of the match so far has been their goalkeeper, Bunu. He's been brilliant. I think City have dominated possession, had some really good chances. On another day, there could be 2 or 3 up. It'd be nice to get another goal just before half-time, but I think they've played really well. Had a couple of hairy moments where Al Hilal have done really well. In times have probably been a little bit wasteful with the final ball. I can't recall Edison having too much to do, but I think City played really well. Just probably should be 2 or 3-0 up, but 1, Al Hilal have always got a chance. But so far, so good, and they've played well.
63% possession for City in that first half, 9 shots, 7 on target, no shots on target for Al Hilal. But as you say there, as Nick said, Andy, Yassine Bunu having possibly the game of his lifetime today. He's made 6 big saves in that first half.
Yeah, he has, and he's been the difference. You know, I've been really pleased, you know, with the performance. You know, you're looking at the expected goals and it's over 2. And I think they're at 0.3, and then you've just read the stats out there. So we're well on top. And, you know, there's just it's managing the counter-attacks and the transition, the turnover. And, you know, you're never going to be able to change what City do. And it's just got to be perfect. Because any time there's a breakdown, you're going to be exposed. You know, if they can get the first pass right, they'll get out and then they can build their way up. And then it's how quick City can recover. But I've been really pleased with it, you know, and it's just that a little bit more clear. We've had 5, 6, 7 opportunities. On any other day, you know, you'd be at least 2-0 up.
Yeah, so City 1-0 up currently, the goal coming in the 9th minute for Bernardo Silva. A stat that I read, though, that I'm loving from this tournament so far. City have scored 4 goals in the first 15 minutes of the first half, which is more than any other team in the Club World Cup. The fact that City keep coming out in every game, Nick, right out of the traps, like straight away, just demonstrates how seriously we continue to take this tournament.
Absolutely, we took it serious from the first game, and right from the off we looked really dangerous. Obviously, goal after 9 minutes, really well worked goal. A little bit of a hint of handball maybe, but it wasn't to be. But yeah, right from the word go, we knew City were going to dominate possession. We knew they were going to sit in the low block and try hitting us on transition, which teams inevitably do against City. So we've controlled the tempo of the game. And like Andy said, we've had 5, 6, 7 really good chances. But for the goalkeeper, it would have been more than 1. But he's no mug, 'cause I remember him when Morocco had a really good run in the World Cup in Qatar. So I've seen him before. He did very well in the World Cup. I think he got goalkeeper of the tournament. And he's been brilliant this first half. And he's been the difference, really, between the game being in the balance and the game sort of been out of their hands.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that opening goal for Bernardo Silva in the 9th minute, it was maybe a hint of luck to it, maybe. We'll get the gents' thoughts of that in a minute. But in the build-up to that goal, there was this lovely scooped pass by Reinders to Aït-Nouri when he makes the run into the box. Before we talk about the possible handball and the finish, Andy, you were cooing over that Reinders ball.
Yeah, there's been... We've made forward passes more in this tournament than we did last season. We've come back out and be predictable, but I'm not saying they're gamble, but you've got to ask the question, you know, and it might be that it breaks down, but, you know, we're not going to go and get 3, 4, 5s if we're not trying that. And I've definitely seen a difference. And, you know, on both sides of the pitch, and the amount of times we've had probing balls down the side with people breaking beyond into the box. And what it does is it stretches the opposition. And it was a wonderful moment. Really, really clever. And it was the pass before as well, where they just find these little spaces. And then you have to have somebody willing to run in behind. And then if the pass is right, you can't stop it from a static. They're trying to hold a line, and it's very, very difficult to stop it. And there's a little bit of a ricochet in there, and you know we've kept it alive. Bernardo's, is active, and it's a good finish. And but I don't think that 1-0 is a reflection reflection of the game, you know, and I'm always trying to be pragmatic and be respectful of the opposition. But these haven't caused us any more problems, really, than the other teams so far in this tournament.
Yeah, a ricochet coming off Gundogan, falling back to Bernardo Silva, who poked the ball home. But, of course, after the goal was scored, the Al Hilal players were up in arms. I mean, it lasted for a good few minutes afterwards before the referee finally said, no, it was a goal, carry on. Because they were arguing about a handball incident in the run-up to it. So that scoop ball that we mentioned from Reinders to Ait-Nouri, the ball appears to breeze his arm in the build-up before. Now, Ali Mann was saying in our commentary that classes as a different period of play, and the rules say that it has to be the final period of play or the 1 or 2 periods of play before it. So, what do we think, Nick? Did we get a scoop of luck there?
I think we did. If it was the other way, we'd be screaming for it not to be given, wouldn't we?
And we'd be moaning at the rules. We'd be saying, you've got to take it back another couple of phases.
If it doesn't, it is eye on his arm, but for me, it is handball. He sort of nudges it through into a lovely bit of space. So, yeah, but they're the rules, and the referees play to the rules, so it is a bit of luck, but it's no more than we deserved. And it would have been a shame with that great sort of like lofted ball from Reinders if it had been given handball. But my first thought when I saw the replay was it was going to be ruled out, but obviously Ali cleaned the rules up there. So, yeah, it wasn't to be, and, it's a good goal then from our point of view.
And it is a goal that stands, and it is a goal that means City have the lead at half-time 1-0. Now, City, as we've already mentioned, had quite a few chances in that first half. We've already talked about the saves that Bunu made, but in terms of some of those chances that we had, Ruben Diaz had a header, Jeremy Doku, a shot with a great save, Savinho had a one-on-one that again was saved. So we've talked about the opportunities, the saves, Andy, but we really have been creating a lot of opportunities, and we could be 2, 3, 4, 5-0 up in this game.
Yeah, we spoke about it before, and we're saying over the game, you know, if you were getting 20-plus shots, you know, 10 on target, I think we're already at 7. So we're going to reach them stats, but it's always going to be about our finishing. You know, the keepers had a really good day so far, and we've not been quite clinical. But, you know, I feel as though if we get the second one, where we are in the tournament, they have to go and try then to, you know, they can stay in it now and they can be cagey and stay in it to maybe 80 and then try something and really have a real go at us because they know that they're not wide open. But if they go 2-0 down and then they try, you know, they're going to be wide open, and I think it will be 3-4 then.
In terms of the way that we've been playing today, Nick, it feels like both the wingers, Doku and Savinho, are having good games. They seem to be having a lot of room, a lot of possession of the ball. Yeah,
Doku in particular, I think, has been probably City's most impressive player this first half, really explosive. I think what we've seen in not just this first half, but this tournament as well, is a little bit more end product from Doku. We know how explosive he is, and he sort of got them snake hips and goes one way and the other. So, yeah, that's where the threat's coming from. And Savinho, I like Savinho because although he's predominantly left-footed, we've seen what he can do already with his right foot, but he does go to the byline as well. So for a full-back, he must be a nightmare because you can't just show him one way because he'll chop inside the other way. So, yeah, that's where the sort of dangers are coming from, the two wide men. And Erling Haaland sort of cut a sort of frustrated figure, I think, towards the end, because there's been times when they've had opportunities to put it in the box and they've perhaps not quite done it, and Erling's been making runs and so he's not got much reward for the work he's put in so far, but hopefully second half that'll change for him. So City leading 1-0 at the break, and it might not be a goal that's going to go down as one of the tournament's best, but City have already scored quite a few that indeed will. We asked you before the game, what is your goal of the tournament so far? We put a poll up on our YouTube, and you all agreed with the three of us in the studio, because Savinho's beautiful goal against Juventus won with 41% of the vote. Congratulations to him. Here it is again. I mean, I'm quite happy to watch this time and time again, and here is the rocket, and there is the finish. Lovely goal there by Savinho. Andy, no surprise at that one before. No, worthy winner. I mean, there's been a few good goals in the tournament, but that probably be in the top 3 at the moment, you know, for a goal of the tournament. And we all agreed before that was all our pick, wasn't it, before, so no surprise that he's won that, and you don't really get bored of looking at it from different angles, do you? And I think it just makes it even better how it's just hit the under the side of the crossbar and bounced into the roof of the net. Of course, plenty of time for City to score some more worldies. As it stands, we will be going through into the quarter-finals against Brazil's Fluminense. That will be on Friday, 8 p.m. UK time. But, of course, there's a big 45 minutes to go before then. Now, we have talked a lot about the weather in this tournament, gents. I was jokingly saying before the game, let's stop talking about the weather. We don't want to jinx anything.
It is really hot out there. You see, after 20 minutes, they're already dripping in sweat. Obviously, they're taking cooling breaks. How is that going to play into the second half in terms of any substitutions, Nick?
I think there will be a lot of substitutions. Pep will know. There'll be all the minutes that every player's had will all be monitored. They'll be speaking to at half-time. They'll have a drinks break at about 30 minutes or so. You would imagine it suits Al Hilal slightly better because they're used to be playing these conditions. But listen, they've been out there for a good few weeks already, so they've been training in the heat, they've played in the heat. But yeah, I'm sure there'll be some fresh legs coming on at some point. And I mean, what a bench we've got. I mean, it really, it's phenomenal. And you look at their bench and there's not too many familiar faces. And it looks like there's a few more local lads on their bench than there is in the starting 11. So, it could, it's been a tough enough game for their defenders already. And then looking at what we possibly could come on the pitch, it's not going to get any easier, that's for sure.
Do you expect any half-time changes, Andy, or are we looking at?
I don't think so. I mean, there is 5 windows, isn't there, to make the changes, and they've worked a lot harder than us. I'm not saying that we don't run, but when you're moving the ball, and also the mental side of it, the discipline of having to continually stay switched on, and that's what normally happens as the game goes on. Somebody begins to switches off, and they don't get be able to double up, and you get one-on-ones as the game begins to open up. But as Nick said, the bench is fantastic. There's there's so many different changes we can go, but we're going to dominate the ball for the second half, and they're going to be working a lot harder for us mentally as well as physically. So there's plenty of ammunition on there if we need to go and get a goal.
And surely, Nick, come on, I know you're part of the goalkeepers union, but Bunu cannot continue this for the next 45 minutes.
Well, he's done great. He's obviously we've broken once. And listen, like Andy said earlier, if we get the second, then they've got to start coming out then. So you do expect it to go 3 or 4. I went for 3-0 before the game, so I'm still happy with that at the minute. So, a nice early goal just to settle us all down. And, we don't want to be messing about with any extra time or anything like that.
Don't say it. Don't say it, Nick. No, I mean, I would like a couple of early goals, definitely, to calm us all down and then to give the opportunity to have more changes. Because obviously, given the heat and the short time of period, we know that the next game is Friday, then the next game following that will be Tuesday, then the final is Saturday as well. A couple of goals would give us some breathing space to perhaps make more changes than we would otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, they might have already preempted some changes, but he can do anything he wants. There's so much talent on that bench. He can change the shape, which he won't probably do that, but he can just change personnel wherever he wants. Anyone looks like they're flagging a little bit, he can bring them off. Like he says, you've got 5 windows, so there's lots of opportunities. 60 minutes seems to be a popular one for a lot of managers, so I would imagine there'll be perhaps 2 or 3 changes at 60 minutes.
Andy, anything else sort of tactically you've spotted in this game that has been different? Because I noticed in the first 3 group games, every game it was a very different team. New tactics seem to be coming through in every game. In terms of this one, anything you've particularly
The only
spotted?
thing that really stood out for me is the wingers have kept their positions wide rather than the fullbacks, where they were coming inside and creating overloads, slightly different in that. I think that's without Rodri. It appears different, but when we come from one side to the other, when you look wide, it's always the winger that's out there rather than the fullback. So that's...
You've not seen Aït-Nouri get into those... we watched clips of Aït-Nouri before getting into those positions, not seeing him...
He's not as high, is he?
In them positions.
But that'll be something that Pep's seen in the opposition, how he wants to cause them problems and how he can pin them back in, because every game seems to be slightly different. And it's only small detail, but, it's what Pep sees in the opposition, how they're going to counter us, where he wants players on the turnover possession, and also how he can make sure that their back 5 is flat and deep. Because if we don't keep them flat and high, and they'll then start affecting the middle of the pitch, and then they might get a 4v4 in there, and then if you get a turnover, then you're in all sorts of trouble. So he knows. I think he knows what he's doing.
Oh, I think he might do. Yes, I think indeed he might do. Thank you very much. So there is a big 45 minutes of football still to come. Can City make it in to the quarter-finals? We will see very, very shortly. Usually we do at half-time get a coach's interview. It's like part of what the differences that DAZN have brought in and the broadcasters and FIFA have brought in for this tournament. We don't appear to have had one for this game, but I do wonder, as a coach, Andy, would you like to do a half-time interview? I feel like I just want to be left alone to be with my players.
Yeah, I mean, obviously everything's evolving, it moves on, doesn't it? And everything's geared towards what the audience wants. But no, I would find it difficult because you're so immersed in the game, and you know, at 1-0. I mean, yeah, listen, if we're 3 or 4-0 up, great. I can sit there and talk as much as you want. It'd be lovely waxing lyrical about how well we're playing and all that. But when it's finally balanced as it is at the minute, you just want to do your job. You just want to make sure that everyone's right. We go back out, we keep doing the same thing. So not that half-time interview.
Most managers don't want to do it at full time.
No.
Let alone half-time.
Facts, Nick. What about players as well? Because the Premier League are bringing in this half-time player interview as well. How would you have felt as a player?
Again,
I don't think that's dangerous, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be careful what you say. I think at half-time you just want to get in that dressing room, have your recovery drinks, whatever you do, you're stretching or, tactical stuff on the board, on the screens, whatever. Yeah, but again, like Andy said, it's what the audience want. They pay huge sums of money, these TV companies and channels, to give the audience what they want, and that's how it's evolving. So it's just part and parcel of it, I suppose.
I don't want it, and I'm part of the audience. I don't know.
You're in the minority then, I think. No.
Do you think?
I think people want it. That's why they give them what they want.
Well, we'll see. We will see how it goes. Andy, thank you very much. Nick, thank you very much as well. Thank you to you all for watching us here at half-time. 3:05 in the morning here in the UK, but I wouldn't have missed this for the world. Are City going to make it through to the quarterfinals of the Club World Cup? We have 45 minutes to find out. You can watch this game, the second half, and all of the games of the Club World Cup free on DAZN. And you can also get your commentary on the Manchester City app with Alistair Mann and with Steve Howie, and we're going to go back over to them now. We will see you at full-time.
Thanks, Nat. Good time.